from DE, so maybe that's
Oh
Denmark.
right, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember talking with Wonderchef that he's like an online warrior.
Yeah, and I feel like has been a lot of online warriors kind of like in other games as well that's found success eventually. Because, I mean, they just grind like no other.
Okay, so... yeah, so we see the opening Hyper Beam coming out from Big Homie Lee. And then we see a return from from Cloud as well. So both players just shown their hand there.
Okay, so I think this is going to be a slower field phase. And I feel like this matchup is it's a lot like chess actually. I mean, you need to have the awareness to go to a second, to bury a second, for example, I feel. And you need to kind of just walk around each other's projectiles in a way, in an intelligent manner, and kind of just read your opponent in between the pieces as well. And I feel like that's what makes this matchup really interesting. And some people actually absolutely hate this matchup.
I can see why, because in some situations you can just throw like Hyper Beams again and catch your opponent unaware from a distance.
Yep. So now we have Cloud in the lead, and we have Weavile for Timo.
Right. So I think Weavile has a better time countering YouTube.
Well, conversion though, this is probably one of the biggest field phase damages that you can do with I guess courtesy to Hyper Beam. Well, nice delay, however, not opting to follow it up, and now Big Homie Lee 5G taking on the opportunity and capitalization. However, Weavile just with their weak stamina is unfortunately like a handicap that Weavile has to have for everything else that he has, including speed and fast synergy time.
Right, so you know, I thought Weavile was actually gonna have a better time going in that as a punish. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I thought he was gonna have an easier time with Mewtwo, but it turns out it's actually the opposite.
I think that matchup is not bad for Mewtwo at all, to be honest with you, because like Mewtwo doesn't really care so much about synergy gain as, like, you know, Weavile is the common counter to, for example, someone like Gengar, where he ends his all of his combos with knockoff, which takes away the ability to burst.
Yeah, and taking away your opponent's option to like use a defensive burst in a pinch is an advantageous situation where you can just have time to like pressure your opponent to possibly make a mistake, like by removing one option that they have which they can't use.
Yep, that's a very common scenario in all of Pokkén and just fighting games in general. So that's something that we will see quite often here. Just missing that is and Big Homie Lee 5G makes this to a very nice grab.
Oh, he's still living on 2
remaining.
HP.
Yep, will we go for another grab is the question.
No, I don't think so. Mimiki will deny that.
This is really unfortunate, and I think just Cloud has quite a lot of opportunity to kind of capitalize. Just goes for the full fire punch, just letting it rip. Yeah. I think it's a worthy sort of risk-reward scenario for him. And I think in this case, yeah, he's already so much ahead, why not? It's just going to net him all of the rewards if it just hits as a counter.
Right, so we see the last character here. I'm definitely going to expect a burst from both opponents here, potentially just because, well, Big Homie Lee's got like the Blazer. He probably could use it to.
Yeah, I think he should burst right now. Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
I say that.
We might see a burst from return here, depending on the situation.
Yeah, I would say so. Oh, that's unfortunate. Just getting caught out on the vulnerability flip frames, the startup frames of the burst.
Was that an unblockable setup just there?
With Mimikyu?
Yeah.
I kind of blinked and I kind of just missed it. It could very well be. Just the tip end of Karya's burst attack catching the hitbox, and that will take the game.
Yep, so Cloud going up 1.
I would say this is a pretty comfortable game for Cloud.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't feel too bad on that. You know, I mean, already so behind is Big Homie Lee. And we will just have to see on how he can adjust in this round.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so we're gonna see the Mewtwo mirror again, potentially. I just.
Potentially.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Here it is.
Oh, did you see they're both about to go for the hyper beam there?
Oh, I think it was a smarter choice to go for the side cutter. I think in this case it's just
That
missing it. Oh,
that was interesting.
yeah, that was a very interesting clash. For sure. Oh, just missing out. I think there's just a lot of footage going on here.
Yeah,
Missing it out.
yeah, just lots of trying to like get things going, but just little taps here and there, nothing actually converting into actual combos.
Oh, nice low profile.
Oh, that active for hitbox.
Last frames? Yep. The right call out, just knowing that he's going to jump.
Right, so
Oh, a very nice grab here.
yeah, that's grab. That just frame there, I think that was plus on block, wasn't it?
It should be. It looks very plus. So I think it's definitely pressure. Oh, that is a very big risk in my opinion, but I guess it paid up here because side strike isn't typically a good move to kind of end rounds with because a lot of the frames actually does not KO, except for the very last hit of like side strike. And so like if kind of your opponent takes all of that and then manages to block the very last hit, you just get punished severely.
Yeah, and on top of that, side strike doesn't actually give you like full armor. It gives you like hitbox armor, but you're still taking damage when you're using it. So if your health drains to 0% when you're using the move, you're still gonna get that anyway.
He's doing really well here though, with all of this, and Lucario with the player. And it's kind of hit probably. Oh, very nice backdash. However, this is going to be really big damage with the anything ending with the force palm. Very big damage for Lucario. So.
I'm liking the awareness. Just earlier back in dual phase where he low profiled the cycle cut with Bone Rush.
Yeah, of course, Bone Rush has projectile destroying properties as well. That's the reason why it's just really nice.
Wow.
Like, it's just matchup knowledge at this point. Will this take it?
I believe it will actually.
This is heavily scaled, however, so yeah,
I think it will. Yeah, it's enough.
There you go. That's a really good comeback from Cloud. Just evening things up here.
Right, so we're going to see what character is going to come up. What do you think the next character is going to be?
I think it's Weavile.
You think it's Weavile, yeah?
Yeah, because I think Weavile is a better matchup. Lucario has a lot of anti-airs, very reliable against characters who are airborne, so I think Weavile is just a better person.
Right, okay.
Nice. Will this be a grab? Is the question.
You called it. You called it out right there.
It's very high risk though. I think Weavile is one of those characters that you have to be quite averse into going for the grab because very short reach, very little damage as well. And if you, with your very little health pool, if you get called out for it, you can very easily lose half of your HP. So I think it's just, I don't know, a player read kind of thing.
Well, it was a good call.
It was a good call. Yes. I mean, that's what Pokemon is like, right?
Yeah.
Reads.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, I don't like personally me. I don't like facing this right because of all the options that he has. Like being able to basically like go over your opponent.
Nice corner carry there with the 4Y. I mean, yeah, the Decidueye does have options, but I feel like all of his options are quite high risk when you're facing a bursted opponent without, like, say, an EV buff or something like that, where your light attacks are usually allowed to flinch opponents when you have buffs. So. Okay, this is a setup though. I think this is not a setup.
No, I would have thought he called Mimikyu there to keep the combo going, but
I think he called it for the setup, but he kind of messed it up. So,
alright.
That's unfortunate, but it does happen to the best of us.
Right. Okay.
Go back. Nice. Just the meaty hitbox really catching it up.
Oh, that was
very
punishable.
Nice. Nope. Oh, does not go for the grab. Goes for the actual bigger punish, maybe.
Maybe he didn't expect the taunt to come out. That's probably why he wasn't prepared for it.
That was too hard burst here, yes.
Right, we've got less than 16 seconds left.
I think just 4Y into burst attack. I think like that would have been like, you know, the rounds. I think this should just barely clip. We'll be safe. Burst attacks are generally quite safe as well, except for a fair few characters like Shadow 2 and Darkrai.
Yeah.
Oh. That's really unfortunate and
yeah.
143 HP. We'll see if Cloud can make this happen. And I think the CGI against Blaziken is generally the CGI favorite, I would say. However, Blaziken is a very hard hitter, so even if you make one mistake, your life is that much.
You also got to be careful because as your Blaziken, you can incur chip damage, like recoil damage when using blaze kicks and such.
Yep.
So it may look even now, but the thing is, if you don't...
It's going to be big damage.
Yep, go for the
Sky
wall.
uppercut. Sky uppercut, yes. That's 1 HP.
1 HP.
And uppercut, I would burst.
Yeah, I will burst because if you lose this field phase, not only this Sidrai will be in an upper time state,
no.
he'll get burst and you lose all that recoverable health.
Yeah. And here he bursts now.
Yeah, this Sidrai has to burst here.
Yeah. I think it's definitely the smarter
Yeah.
option. Although, you know, he's like one touch. Oh, no! Where's the whip punish? Oh,
No, he was too far away.
Oh, I don't know. I still feel like that could have been a really good whip punish, but
I would back away. Yep, I would back away.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would back away in case the Blaziken might catch a what? You're on 1 HP, so you have rage.
Yep.
And any buffs as well that could do like extra damage to the Blaziken.
Yeah, just any touch at that point will just take it. So just there's no easy answer for Cloud at that point, right? And I think you just need a lot of composure and tournament experience, and I feel like because Cloud doesn't really have a lot of tournament experience from what I've gathered so far, I think nerves is definitely a thing here.
Yeah, there's because you play online a lot. The situation, the environment's a lot different than playing back at home. Whereas playing in actual tournaments, then you got so many factors surrounding your environment where you feel this, which could affect your decisions.
Yeah, it's definitely a very mental thing.
So
it's real.
So even if you might be like, say, technically the better player in practice, you still have to deal with all those other environmental factors.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I would say that Cloud is the favorite player in this case. However, considering that Big Melee is a very seasoned tournament player at this point, he's been Pokkén from the very beginning as well. So it's really showing the sort of how do I say it? The tournaments. I thought that was on the same. I thought that was on the same frame. It's gonna just
Hyper beam.
Yeah. It looks like Big Melee is just a pretty fast one, so.
Yeah, like Big Melee, like being able to play offline in tournaments and also have that environmental advantage, like environmental experience as well. Will like put him into like an advantageous situation. But we see that Cloud actually takes the round there.
Yep, which means that we'll have to see whether Big Melee has the guts and the mental fortitude to kind of go from behind. And we'll see right now.
I mean, we see Mewtwo's in.
Oh, this is a good chance.
That's it.
Oh, nice.
So
this is the optimal conversion.
Oh,
So
is it?
take away the meter.
I thought he would have went for a homing attack actually.
I think it's just good to just take away meter as well at this point.
Yeah.
Just any meter that you can take is really good for the next character, and this is pretty big damage.
Oh.
Nice. I think he just threw out the 2Y for the timing, sort of like just to guarantee the timing.
Right, so it was no drop combo there.
Oh, very good grab here.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, very even game we have.
Right, he did manage to take like half HP at least.
He did, but I would still say like with the meter advantage and Weavile could just burst like, you know, beginning of the round, just walk up a little bit and just burst is quite scary.
Yeah, like
so I would say fairly even. I would say Cloud just a little bit on the lead, but you know.
like depending on the situation, Weavile can like burst now and then potentially get another burst later.
Nice, just outlasting the armor frames. Oh, this is also a very devastating grab to be taken.
Right.
Suddenly, Big Melee with all the momentum.
I would probably try and go for a knockup at some point.
Big damage. Oh, this KO is the
No.
this messes it up. Oh no. That's actually a very high damage hitter. Oh.
Lucario is getting very close to burst himself. If he manages to do like one extra combo or something like that, he could potentially get a burst.
Oh,
well, he
just
dropped the
messes up
Pro Rush
combo
again.
This is anyone's game so far.
It's looking very close. I'm watching Lucario's.
Oh, nice extreme speed.
I was gonna say I was looking at Lucario's burst meter. It was very close. I think he would have
call
used.
out.
Yeah, he would have
Yeah.
used it if he was like active.
He was definitely trying to get it by
Yeah.
like, you know, absorbing hits during his counter attack frames, which actually nets you meter. And he was trying his best to kind of be able to have the burst. And for the better of worse, and for the better in this case, he actually didn't manage to have it, and now he has burst.
Right.
Up to be popped, yeah.
He's gonna burst.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Wants to take the momentum. This is a very high damaging grab. Lucario, one of those characters with the privilege of getting a buff grab when he's bursted. So
Right. So now we see both characters in burst. Big Homie needs kind of gone on the defensive. He doesn't want to like deal with Lucario while he's still in burst until he runs out. Right, he's forced his burst there. Now he's going to react with his own burst.
yeah, this is a very safe burst if it lands. As long as it doesn't miss your opponent and block, it is very safe. Just a really good burst.
Or like recognizing that his shield was going down, so he kind of like walked a little bit back and then went in for the bone rush to try and catch him out.
Oh, very nice brave bird there. Play shut around. This is anyone's game, and although Cloud does have advantage here, undoubtedly so, even with the meter and life advantage. So it is his game to lose, but in a game of Pokkén, it's basically anything can happen.
I think it's down to who gets the first field phase that puts them in. Like,
Yeah, that's definitely a very big deal. I think if Zero gets the field phase like this, now it's suddenly.
yeah. Now he needs to find. I would say he needs to find a way to bring him back into field phase so he can win the next interaction, because he's not going to get burst into this in this phase right here. Fortunately for him, he does bring Cloud does bring him back into it.
That wall splat really hurt.
Yeah, there we go. See, now he's won it.
Dash
Now
up and burst.
he's going to burst.
Oh no!
Burst now. Go.
That was like a really
Alright,
good
there we
chance to
go.
burst. I mean, like 34 HP and anything can happen. I would play the aggressive game here if I was but, oh no.
Unfortunately, he didn't.